Hi, and welcome to Module 2-4, the last part of Module 2, and in this part of the module we're going to look at the Python Standard Library and Object-Oriented Programming. Now the Python Standard Library is just a set of built-in modules and functions that come pre-installed with Python, and so they can be some useful tools. You might not use these all that much, or you might use them a lot. It sort of just depends on the code that you're running and what you need to do. So my goal here is just to introduce you to some of the things you can do with the Python standard library, but there's a lot more to go and explore. And I would encourage you to dive a little bit deeper into some of these modules or built-in functions if you think that you could find them useful in your code. And so with that, let's get started. The first module I want to look at is sys.argv. So this is used to access command line arguments. Now it's not something we're going to use in a Jupyter notebook here, but if you do find yourself needing to access command line arguments, this is one way to do it. Next, let's look at the math module. And so with this, you have some other mathematical functions that we can use. So in the example here, we're going to use take the power to calculate the BMI. So we're going to power the height in meters, and we will do, that will be, so here's the formula. So we'll have weight divided by the height squared, essentially. And so that's going to give us our BMI, and this math module is give us the ability to do that power. And so there we go. So we have a BMI that we used 22.86, and we used the math module to do that. Next is date time. So if you're using dates and times and need to keep track of that, this is a useful module to use. And so you can take the string and we'll convert it to a date time data type, and you can store that, and that would be useful for ongoing analysis. The RE, that's short for regular expressions. Now this can get a little bit more involved, and there's a lot to regular expressions, but they can be helpful in data cleaning and to extract or search for information in a lot of text. So this is not going to be in depth into regular expressions by any means, but just to show you what you can do. So if you have a clinical note here, the patient's blood pressure is 120/80, we can use that RE and we can search for the blood pressure component of this. And so if we find that, we can search that text and then find the patient's blood pressure or anything else that you would want to be looking for. Random, now we've seen this one a little bit already, but it just generates a random number. So if you need to make a bunch of numbers or generate a range for some reason, we can do random, or select a random choice. So we're going to use range here, which we'll see below. So we're going to have an entire range of numbers from 1 through 99, and we're just going to randomly select one of those using the random choice. And so select patient number 18, and so that is the random. Now if we run this again, this code cell, we should get a different patient this time because it's random. So now we have patient 2, patient 15. So you can see it's just randomly choosing a patient here in this range of 1 through 99. Next, some of the built-in functions, and like I mentioned, we've seen range a little bit, so it's just going to generate a sequence of numbers. And so it's inclusive at the beginning and exclusive at the end, so it's going to stop at 10. And so for I in range, so we want the numbers 1 through 10. So there you go, that's range. Type, and we've seen this a little bit before too, it just returns the type of an object if you want to know, what data type is this. So you just do type of the object that you're looking for, and it will return, in this case, what type of, a float in this case, so it's going to let you know what data type that is. Len is going to give you the length of an object. So if you have a string or a number, so you have an integer and you want to know the length of that, you just put len in front of that, and it's going to count the space here too. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the len or length should be 10 on this one, and there we go. Now round is going to just round large numbers. So I use this mostly just for data visualization. So if I have a bunch of long decimals, I don't want to see that. So I use round just to cut that off and make it a little bit more easy to read. So you just put the number that you want here, and then how many places after the decimal, so 2, and the round will cut that off. So it's going to round up. So now it's 123.46. So that is round. Min and max, self-explanatory here. So if you have a set of numbers, the min will give you the lowest and the max is going to give you the largest. So we have 4, 7, and 1. So the min of that should be 1, the max will be 7. And so, with 3 numbers, not terribly useful, but if you have a large set of numbers, then this can be quite a bit more useful in that scenario. And then print, we've been using print quite a bit before, so it's just going to print whatever you tell it to, so the patient status is stable here. So sometimes it's good to see that output in print if you want to know something. So there we go. So that is the first part. So when we come back, we're going to look at objects and classes.